we see Che and Alberto go through many experiences, and these are a couple that we chose as significant. So we decided to look at the ocean, leaving Chichina, the experience with the lady with asthma, the communist couple, leper colony, Cusco and Machu Picchu, losing the bike, and miners and Indians.
So the first discovery that we came across was when Che and Alberto came across the Atlantic Ocean. This was in page 34, and we consider the discovery to be provocative and transformative. So nearing almost 30 years of age, Alberto is seeing the ocean for the first time in his life. So for Alberto, it's like a strange and quite a strange experience. And the intensity with which his eyes follow every wave, building, swirling, and dying with the beach, represent his amazement, reflecting this newfound discovery. So he is overwhelmed by the discovery that signifies an infinite number of paths to an end to all Earths. This is reflective of their own journey, as they will conquer a long path to new and undiscovered places, or more specifically in Southern America. And for Che, this is not a new discovery, but a rediscovery, as he has already seen the ocean. However, it still symbolizes the harsh upcoming journey for both of them.
So another quote that we decided to use was "interpreted any way you choose," which basically shows that Alberto's journey is more of what he hasn't seen before rather than a change of thought, which is what Che undergoes. And throughout the diary entry "Discovery of the Ocean," at the beginning, personification is used to describe the sea, which shows that Guevara has more of a reoccurrence of the past experience, and it describes it as a place where he can confide in. And he compares his feelings to driftwood settling only to be swept away again.
So we saw the leaving of Chichina, Alberto leaving Chichina to be an emotional discovery that also transformed him in a way. On the right, you can see the poem from Silva that Alberto reads out. He uses a lot of emotive language to symbolize his love for Chichina at that moment and how he feels about leaving her. So my heart swaying between her. I don't know where I found the strength to free myself from her eyes. But later on, while he was on his journey, he experienced a lot. And this is on page 54. I still believed I loved her until this moment when I realized I felt nothing. So from this, we can see that Alberto's journey really did transform him. We can see that he sees Chichina as more of a possession instead of an actual love. So through his journey, Alberto realized the superficiality of his love and how he did not love Chichina at all.
So Che comes into contact with a woman who has asthma, and she shares the struggles that Che does, but obviously doesn't have the money or the resources to treat herself the way Che does. So being the renowned doctors that they are, they go in and they treat this woman. This is in La Gioconda's Smile. And this discovery is confronting, provocative, challenging and transformative because it changes the way he sees the world, and it changes the way he views Latin America. So he states that the poor thing was in a pitiful state, breathing the acrid smell of concentrated sweat and dirty feet that filled her room. It's on page 70. So Che empathizes with her, obviously, because he also has asthma, and he uses the imagery to portray poverty. And this is really the first time he comes into contact with somebody who is of a lesser social standing than he is, and that's where that revolutionary ideal is born. Of course, so it grows and becomes more profound as time goes on. And then he also goes on shortly afterwards to say is at times like this, when a doctor is aware of his complete powerlessness, that he longs for change. So obviously he can't cure her or treat her. She also has a heart problem. So all he can do is really ease her suffering. And it's that intellectual connection with his skills as a doctor that really impact the way he feels about revolting against the government who really doesn't care about the proletariat. So he calls to the fore the notion of forcing a change rather than expecting people to make the change for you. And then he goes on, it's a very effusive page, this one. He says, "It is there in the final moments for people whose farthest horizon had always been tomorrow that one comprehends the profound tragedy circumscribing the life of the proletariat all over the world." So you can see he immediately connects this image of a dying woman to the proletariat all over the world, and he wants to be the example and the defining force in creating equality, and that's really what drives him forward. So ultimately, in light of not being able to help, he just prescribes her his asthma pills to ease her suffering, and leaves her to live out the rest of her days.
See, Che undergoes an emotionally confronting discovery when he meets with the communist couple at the mines. So he's emotionally struck by their determination and strength of conviction towards one another and their political beliefs. So he informs the reader that he was in prison for 3 months because of his political beliefs, and his interest through his lexical chain to describe the chain of events that affected the man. And this is evident through the quote, "His starving wife stood by him with exemplary loyalty. His children left in the care of a kindly neighbour. His fruitless pilgrimage in search of work." So Che chooses to recount the man's trials with an air of pathos, indicates his own confronting emotional involvement with the man's story. Furthermore, the inclusive use of pronouns in "so we gave them one of ours," just the couple's generosity and friendship inspires him not only to share his belongings, but to view them with a degree of emotion not present in previous chapters. So this indicates that there was a great sense of emotion, and it was highly confronting for Che himself.
And I think it's also a good turning point for Che as well, because he does also state that communism or Marxism isn't a tenable political position for him at this time, but then he goes on to be one of the great communist revolutionaries, so you can see that experience really changed him.
So Grover's experience with the couple can be viewed as a watershed moment throughout the book as well. The line "living representation of the proletariat of any part of the world" relies upon the inclusive language of any part of the world. So this views that this transformation and emotion is not just where Che is now, but it's international. So the reference of proletariat encloses Marxist learnings, as James mentioned previously, and reinforces the idea that his discovery of poverty fuels his desire for active political change.
So one of the big experiences is the leper colony. He comes into contact with this group of lepers, or a colony of lepers, and this is really the culmination of his 9-month journey. And a big part of that symbolism of 9 months is it is the time a woman is pregnant, and so he feels that after 9 months he's really grown and changed into a new person, and the things he sees and hears and feels in the leper colony really show that. So he goes from treating people and engaging in activities with them to see how downtrodden they are, to becoming, almost one of them, to the point where he engages with them even on his birthday. There's a real big transformative, it has a really big transformative effect on him, because as I said before, he is asthmatic, and he musters up the courage to swim across the Amazon River to celebrate his birthday with the lepers, rather than wait for a boat, because the weather was too choppy, so he couldn't do that. So this discovery, as a result of those big mental changes that happened over the 9 months, is confronting, provocative, challenging, transformative, and cathartic, because he finds people to confide in. So Cusco and Machu Picchu, experiencing the culture of the Incas is something that you can see has a militaristic influence on Che. So he's transformed and challenged by what he sees as they're travelling to Cusco. The pig, as we know he was called as a child, comments on the lack of hygiene because the people are treated as animals. So that experience changes his perception of the world. He again sees the proles as somebody as a people who are downtrodden, and something he wants to change. And then in Peru, when he experiences Machu Picchu, he quotes that the Greystones have grown tired of pleading with their protector gods for the destruction of the abhorrent conquering race, and now show an innate exhaustion. So he's referencing the rubble of the Incan civilization and the rubble of the Spanish conquistadors as well. So he actively is building towards open revolution and taking that notion of communism to the people. And this is a nice quote that references his guerrilla warfare style of fighting. So their fortresses were impenetrable and secure from surprise attack. So you can see he's beginning to observe things towards the end of his journey in a very militaristic way. And then he also references the bell towers of a Spanish church toppled by an earthquake, lying like a dismembered animal on the hillside. So you can see that he's really thinking about tearing down this post-Inca society to bring an equal communist society to initially to Chile and then to all of Latin America with a capital A. So yeah, that's it.
Alberto and Che losing the bike in Santiago acts as a turning point in regards to the nature and spirit of their discovery, as the travelling map consisted of walking for hours on end and desperate hitchhiking, which all took a physical toll on the two men. And the quote that I found for this is down here on page 68. So it says, "We had come to the new phase in our adventure. We were used to calling ideal attention to ourselves with our strange dress and the prosaic figure of La Poderosa. No longer. Now we were just two hitchhikers with backpacks, all with the grime of the road stuck to our overalls, shadows of our former aristocratic selves." And this served to be both a challenging and confronting discovery for Alberto and Che, as I now realised that their journey was going to be significantly more difficult and laborious. Shadows of our former selves suggest that during their new journey they would undergo drastic personality changes which would involve obtaining new values and attitudes, and hence cause them to be in fact a shadow of them for themselves. And I also found that this quote was connected with an earlier one on page 32. So it states, "I'm not the person I once was, all this wandering around America with a capital A has changed more than I thought." And so this discovery is emotional and physical, and it makes reference to the future experiences that were physically challenging, which were a ramification of losing the bike.
Oh yeah, so this was supposed to be Hamish's slide, but it's on meeting the miners and the Indians. So he again evokes the imagery of a united people huddling together in the desert night. Were a living representation of the proletariat in any part of the world. So he felt what he was experiencing and what he was seeing was reminiscent of what was happening all around the world to people who either had communist beliefs or who were just downtrodden in any way, shape or form. So this is that communist mindset growing in his mind, and he portrays that through the evocative imagery he uses of the communist mining couple.
That's good.